So in yesterday's class, we have started collections, and in that we discussed some basic points. So first, what is a collection as a definition? Collection is a container. Collection is a container to store, used to store group of individual objects. Together, all the objects as a group, but they are of individual objects. That is the purpose of collection. And in this, map is not involved, as we discussed. In this definition part, map is not involved because map is an individual object only, but it's not as a single value. That's the difference. We'll see there. And in this entire collection framework, how many interfaces were there? There were 9 interfaces. You should be knowing their names at least. So for that, let me go for a repetition of the same. Only we'll draw the tree structure, which is a parent-most interface. Collection is a parent-most interface. And in this parent-most interface, there are some methods which were defined and which will be applicable to all the child interfaces. And can any class implement this collection directly? No class implements this collection interface directly. No class implements collection interface. Then what are the childs? When this collection is not implemented by any classes, then directly it is not possible. Then there are some child collections are there. So through which even parent class collection methods also will be implemented. So what are these child collections? Yeah, any order? So let me go for some set. Next, list, and then queue, and then map, which is not a child of this one. Set and list and this queue. Any other interfaces which belongs to set again? Which one is that? Sorted set, and then one more here, navigable set. And when it comes to list, anything else? Yeah, not implemented classes. I'm asking interfaces. No. Queue? No. Then when it comes to map, map is one interface which is not a child of collection. Not a child of collection interface. Map has 2 more interfaces. What are those? Sorted map, and then followed by navigable map. So these are the 9 interfaces which were there in Java's collection. Then what are the implemented classes for this set? I'm writing the short format, hash set, then linked hash set. When it comes to list, the classes array list and then linked list. When it comes to queue, so here priority queue and the block queue, and they were there. So they were not that much important at an interview level. So we don't discuss much about this. I don't discuss much about this. I'll discuss about all this. And here one more class is there, tree set. So here array list and linked list, which is internally there is one more doubly linked list. Doubly, this I didn't give the name yesterday. So doubly linked list, DLL. When it comes to map, what are the implemented classes? Hash map, and then linked hash map. When it comes to this sorted and navigable, tree map. So these are the implemented classes which we are going to discuss about all this. And all these classes comes from which package? Yeah, all the classes, all the implemented interface classes all the class of collection interface are present in java.util package. And also we discussed one more term, legacy classes. What's the meaning of legacy classes? Sorry? Yeah, the classes which are there from the 1.0 version onwards. Still they are in use. So we call such classes as legacy classes. So this is a glimpse of what we discussed in last class. Then we will understand today about what is the purpose of these multiple interfaces. More importantly, set and list and map. What are their properties and how do we use them? So that we discuss. So as a set interface, what is the type of collection of elements that set will contain? Set is an ordered collection or unordered collection. Means whenever we are storing the elements into set interface, the elements will be stored in any proper order, like the insertion order or ascending order is something like that, or the elements will be in the random. So it will be in the random. So it means if at all our requirement, our purpose is order doesn't matter, then the elements has to be stored into one container where the duplicates are not allowed. When the duplicates are not allowed, then we have to use an interface called as set interface and corresponding implemented classes for that. So your set is unordered collection of elements. Unordered collection. And set allows duplicates or no? Set allows or no? Doesn't allow duplication. So then if you try to store some elements, like set will be represented by using this curly braces. As a programmer, whenever we are storing the elements into this set, the set will be represented by using a curly brace. So for this, if I am taking some set of elements, as a programmer, let us assume these are the values which I wanted to store. Okay? So some 10, 5, 8, 7, 6, some 100, something like this. These values, if we try to store, so is it any ordered collection or unordered collection as a set? Set is an unordered collection. So if this is a collection of this set or some container, then in different locations, we cannot predict it where it will be stored, and there is no corresponding index numbers for these elements. So for example, say 10 somewhere, 5 somewhere, 8 somewhere, 7, 600. So these values will be stored at random locations. So as a programmer, we cannot perform because there is no proper order of these elements in this. Is it possible to get first element back as a 10? No. Is it possible to get the second element like this last element? No. As a programmer, we are going to enter the values in some order, but it is not possible to retrieve them in the particular order. Like we can't get first element as 10, we can't get last element as 100. It may be any order. That's the meaning of the unordered collection, and they'll store in different memory locations, and this doesn't allow duplicates. So here, the next point to remember for this one is index-based operations. Index-based operations are not possible on sets. I'm not going for the implemented classes. Again, some properties will change that we discuss in detail, but why 3 are required first? Any real-time example where we doesn't allow duplicates? For example, if I'm asking you guys to enter your mobile numbers by sharing one Google form, say for example, can two people enter same number? No, we don't have number. We don't have same numbers, but can they enter or not? Possibly or wantedly or by mistake, whatever is the reason. So there may be some possibility. But as we are aware of, mobile numbers will be unique. They can two people can't have a same mobile number. So in that situation, duplicate should be allowed or should not be allowed. Should not be allowed. Even though by mistake, if you are entering some number which is already there, then immediately it should not accept your data because that's an appropriate way of collecting mobile numbers. So that is where the duplicates not allowed, and when this order doesn't matter, then we should go for set concept. Okay, and because of this unordered collection, as we retrieve these elements, while storing and also while retrieving, so we cannot predict the order, but the retrieval is much faster. If it is some proper ordered location, say for example, the elements were stored in a proper order of say index position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Then to get this last element, we'll be writing some code. Yeah, we know the arrays concept. Let us assume arrays only. To get this last element, what we will do? We'll write system.out.println some array name with corresponding last index number will write. Okay. So for this, what is the execution flow by JVM is, first JVM will come to the corresponding address location of the array. Yeah, stack and heap, we are aware of all this stuff. Aware of or not? Yes. So for example, if you are using some array, let me take some int a is array name equals to the same elements only we are taking. So 10, 5, 8, 7, 600. Yeah. Then a will be in stack, which will be having the address of this array heap location, and a will be pointing to this location. When we try to access this fourth index number, then what is JVM's execution flow? For example, if this address is 0x100 and here A also contains 0x100 only. Correct or not? Yes. Then this 0x100 is address of this entire array location, or it's an address of 0th index position location. Come on. It is a 0th index position location. It's not the entire address. So internally JVM will calculate once we give the corresponding index number. So based on this information, then JVM goes to the next location. And then JVM goes to next location with the corresponding immediate address. And again JVM goes to next location. Then JVM finally comes to last location and gives the element which is present in this index position. So that is the execution flow. But when it comes to set, since there is no proper order, unordered collection, so JVM will directly retrieve the corresponding element, the internal implementation of hash code algorithm. I'll discuss it classes. Hash code algorithm. So based on this hash code algorithm, JVM need not to search for multiple locations to pick the appropriate element. That is where it will just print the elements much faster when it compares to some ordered collections of the interfaces or sets. Okay. Over ordered collection, set is unordered. Therefore, this is much faster in giving the output. So there are two different situations where if you want the order to be any order and if don't want to allow duplicates, then in that situation, we'll be using a set interface where the execution time is much faster. And one more thing is we cannot perform any index based operations generally on set. Am I clear? Are you getting me? Are you getting me? So this is about the set and its corresponding properties and what will happen and when we should go. Then we'll clearly discuss about when we should go for the implemented classes like hash set, when we should go for linked hash set, when we should go for, and tree set, when we should go for. Once I move to the next concept, here I'm not going to discuss any programming. Okay, since there are some loopholes or some drawbacks are there, I'm trying to discuss those. Next, as a collection, set interface will allow multiple values or homogeneous values only. Homogeneous or heterogeneous. Any collection will allow heterogeneous elements except tree set and tree map, right? So it means by using this set interface, can we store the elements or the objects which are of not same type? Yes or no? Yes, we can store. That means if you try to store the set elements, like say one character, one number, one string in double quotes, and some decimal value. So all these are possible. Set is allows heterogeneous kind of elements. It means we can store any kind of data or any kind of objects that is possible with this set. So this is some points we should aware of about this. What is this set interface? What it the properties and what's the purpose of. Then the next situation where we want the ordered collection. If you want the ordered collection, then is set allows that? No, set is an unordered collection of elements. Then we have to go for the next interface. If you want some order, then we have to go for the list interface. So that means what is this list interface and its corresponding properties. Unordered, we have to go for set. Then what is the list? List is an ordered collection of elements. Ordered collection. So yeah, I already mentioned this order. Then what is the order? What is the order that list preserves? Yeah, list ascending order or descending order or in programmer order. Yeah, list persists of insertion order. Means in which the programmer is entering the values or elements into this list collection, then the same order will be maintained by default. It is an ordered collection, and this order is nothing but insertion order. However, the programmer is entering the values into this list, then the same way those elements will be stored in the collection. Then list allows duplicates. Yes or no? Yes, list allows duplicates. Just to understand, I'm taking a simplest example. So list will be represented by using the square brackets. List will be represented by using square brackets. Previously I used set. Set will be represented by using a curly. So in this list of elements, I'm going with the simplest example of numbers for understanding. Then we'll go for one more example as well. Some 10, 20, 70, 40, 60. So if these are the elements, if you are trying to store into list interface, so based on in which order the elements will be stored. It's in the insertion order. It means somewhere in the collection, some order has to be maintained. So that means corresponding index position for these elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 10, 20, 70, 40, 60 will be stored internally. So since it's an ordered collection, that order is nothing but programmer insertion order. And does it allow duplicates? I mean, say for example, somewhere if at all I want to add 20 once again. Possible? Yes. As a last element, even 20 also will be added there. So with the index position called 5. They were dynamically groupable or not? Yes. So if at all you want to add one extra element, we can add one more element. Then here, based on internal process, which we'll discuss later, one more extra cell will be added, and this value also will be stored in the last portion. So list collections were dynamically groupable, arrays were fixed in size. Then in which situation list is allowed or recommended? In a day-to-day life example, where that list should be allowed, or classroom is only best example. Here there were two Pravinas and there were two Chaitanyas like this, right? So in this situation of collecting the names of the students of this particular class, then if we go for set, what will happen? Set allows duplicates or no? No. But we want to have the similar names. We cannot make sure that every person will have a different name. There is no such rule. Therefore, to store such kind of data like names of the people, then we should go for a collection which is list. Therefore, It allows duplicates and everyone's data also will be stored into them. Yeah. Just an example of when we should go for list. So since it is an ordered collection, then can we perform the index based operations? Can we retrieve 0th position element? Can we retrieve 3rd position element? Can we modify 4th position element? Yes. So this is the, since it is an ordered collection, the proper indexing will be maintained internally. Therefore, by using those index positions, we can access the elements in a order. So it means that last point, index based operations are possible. Does the list allows only homogeneous elements or heterogeneous elements also? Heterogeneous elements as well. It means if at all you want to store as a list of elements, then it is not only of similar data type. We can go for multiple types as well. There's some numbers, some characters, and some floats, some string. All those things are possible. Awesome. So this is about the some basic properties of list. Again, we'll discuss clearly about when we should use array list, when we should use linked list once I move to the appropriate concept. So far we are just still in collections only. There are some drawbacks with collections. First, I am trying to discuss the points. Then we'll discuss what are those drawbacks. Then what is the solution. Then we'll follow what is the solution in the programming. We'll go with the programs based on what is properly, which is allowed. Or what is the current solution for this? Some concerns. So about this list, clear? The third one, which is nothing but set. Sorry, map. The collection set and the collection list will store the elements of individual objects. It's a group of elements, but they were individual objects. But here the one single value, like a number 10, or like a character, or like a string. So these values are nothing but as individual values or single values. So this type of values are not possible to store by using this map. So its purpose is different. That is why whatever the interface methods which are present in the collection interface as a parent, so that is limited to only single elements or single objects only. But when it comes to map, it is not a single object. Yeah, that is why this doesn't comes under the child interface of a collection. It's a separate interface. So what is the purpose of this map? Map is used to store key value pairs. Key value pairs. So then here, what is this key and what is this value? Key is one object and also value is also another object. So previously we are, by using set and list, we can store only one object at one time. But by using this map, we can store two objects, but as a pair, not individually. That is where it is different from the previous two collections. Then what are the properties for these keys and values? Duplicates are allowed or not allowed? So here keys should be unique. And the values can be duplicates. Keys should be unique and values can be duplicates. The best example, to store the person data, to store the data of the people. So where a person's Aadhaar number and followed by a person name. If you are storing this pair of objects, one is nothing but Aadhaar number and one more is a name of the person, then this situation can be best suitable for the collection map. So we cannot use set for this one because we can't store two objects together, and we cannot use list because we cannot store two objects together. So here is the best example of map when we should go for. So here, can two people have same Aadhaar number? No, it is a unique. Say first person's Aadhaar number, say some 1, 2, 3, 4. Then some name. So name can be some Satish. One more person can have a same Aadhaar number? No, it will be something different. But can the name can be same? Yes, two people can have the same name. There is no issues there. But two people can never have the same Aadhaar number. Similarly, you can go for mail ID and name of the person, and also mobile number and name of the person, bank account and name of the person, something like this. All these things are unique, where we have to use as a keys, where they are duplicates are not allowed, and the name can be same. Two people can have the same name. So in a real world, therefore, this is an example of when we should go for a map to store a key value pairs, and both are objects here, and the keys should be unique. Means we cannot go for a duplicate keys. If we go, what will happen? That's next story. But we cannot use the same key values as duplicate values, but the names or values can be duplicates. So this is the example of what is the map and its corresponding data and when we should use. So this is about the all the basic interfaces which we are going to discuss: set and list and map. There is a various purpose for each of these. No duplicates, then go for set. Duplicates are allowed, go for list. And a combination of objects, then go for the map. Then the corresponding classes were there. So there were 3 to 5 plus 3, 8 classes were there. Set will be implemented by 3 classes, list will be implemented by 2 classes, and a map will be implemented by 3 classes. So therefore, again, some internal purpose will be different. So that is where we'll be having a different implemented classes for all these 3 collections. So when it comes to this collection framework, so there is one drawback with this. There is one drawback with this of list collection and a set collection, because they allows heterogeneous kind of data. Means multiple types of values, means integer values, string values, character values, float values, all those things together. So when those values are allowed, so there is a concern. That is why we don't write our programs based on these direct interfaces. We don't write based on these collection interfaces. So there is a solution for that. So before we go for solution, let us discuss about what is a collection interface. Sorry, collection framework, not interface, sorry. Collection framework. So far we are discussing about what is collection. Collection is a container which is used to store group of individual objects. Then what is the meaning of this framework? Generally, you'll be hearing these words: Java framework, or Python framework, or .NET framework, JavaScript framework, something like this. Framework is nothing but it is a predefined. It will consist of predefined interfaces, predefined classes, predefined methods, and predefined some libraries, sorry, some algorithms. It means as a programmer, we are not going to write any of these things. Means when it comes to implementation of methods and implementation of these algorithms, so these were already implemented and put it into one package or in one box. That entire thing which we call as framework is one most commonly used term. We also call this framework as library. What's the meaning of library? Group of books. In the simplest understanding, right? So in the same way, what is the meaning of this programmatic based frameworks or libraries means? Group of things. What are those things? Interfaces, classes, methods, some variables and all those things. That's the simplest way to look at what is the meaning of a framework. Then what is there in the collection framework? This is I am discussing about only the meaning of this framework in a simplest terminology. But what is the meaning of this entire thing as collection framework? So since collection is a framework, what collection will contain? Some interfaces first. Collection will contain some interfaces. And for those interfaces, what this interface will contain? Abstract methods. Means methods without body, we are aware of. Then who has to implement this? The corresponding classes. Implemented classes. Next, for these implemented classes, these abstract methods has to implement by writing some code, some implementation. So for that also in this collection framework, there is one implementation section. As a programmer, do we need to write sorting logic? No. So do we need to write some searching logic? No. We have to just use those methods, appropriate syntax only. For those things already in this collection framework, the implementation is there. The implementation is already given here. So as a programmer, we don't need to bother about this one. Just we have to use them. Interface is there as a part of collection framework, which contains some abstract methods. And for these abstract methods, there were implemented classes. And since these methods has to be implemented, that implementation of those methods also is already predefined in this collection frame, Java's collection frame. Then something we use here, some algorithms, most commonly used algorithms. Like we are discussing some search of one object, some sorting, some shuffling. So for these things, already even this also predefined only, depends on our requirement, we have to use them. So when we should sort it, if at all I want the order in the ascending order, then when we should search for to find some of the object in the collection, then we have to shuffle, just change the order. Okay? So in that situations, we'll be using this most commonly used algorithm. For this also, it was included already in the collection framework. Then as the end user or as a programmer, we have to use these in appropriate situations. That's all. We don't need to write any logical thing for these things. Yeah. So this is the advantage of collections over arrays. For arrays, sorting logic, no predefined method support. We have to write it sorting logic. Yeah. For searching one element, we have to write the logic. So search all the index numbers and pick the corresponding element required. But when it comes to collection, everything is predefined. Yeah, just we have to use them. That's all. Then what are these implemented classes which are there in the collection frame? First, if I go for one interface called set interface, one of such interface is nothing but set interface, and set interface contains some abstract methods in it. Then what are the implemented classes for this set interface? One is hash set, one is linked hash set, and one more is tree set. So depends on the requirement. Again, why we need three? There is a purpose. So depends on the requirement. Hash set will implement these abstract methods in its own class. Hash set is having the implementation of these abstract methods in this class one time. Linked hash set also will have the implementation of the same methods according to linked hash properties once again. And this tree set also has implementation of these abstract methods according to its properties once again. So these were already implementation is done. As a programmer, we don't need to bother about it. Hash set as implementation of all the set abstract methods, set interface abstract methods. Linked hash set has the implementation of set abstract methods. Tree set has the implementation of set abstract methods. Individually, they are having, so because their purpose is again little bit different. So for this set, so these are the three classes which are having the implementation of all these abstract methods in the implementation section. Then the second interface, because of no space I'm writing here. What is second interface? List. So for this list interface, what are the implemented classes? So just for our understanding, I'll mention I and C. C is class, I is interface. So for this list interface, the implemented classes were array list. Array list is class, and also linked list is under class. So these are the two classes which were implemented list interface abstract methods. In this array list implementation is done already, and in this linked list also the interface list interface abstract methods implementation is done already in the implementation section of the collection framework. We have to use them. That's all. Okay. So this is about the list interface and the corresponding implementation of classes. And the last one, map interface. So when it comes to map as an interface, which has again some abstract methods. Interface means we all are aware of abstract methods. Then the corresponding implemented classes. Hash map is one class, and then linked hash map is another class, and tree map is one more class. Tree map M capital. Yeah. So again, these interface methods were implemented individually into these three different classes, depends on the sub properties of this hash map, linked hash map, and tree map. Again, that is also done in the implementation section of the collection framework. As a programmer, we don't need to bother about implementations.